Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are, first up, cholesterol for breakfast, it's Danny the GFP.
That's not quite true, is it? I have carbs
Do you want
for
to tell
breakfast.
everybody what time it is tonight?
8:27 p.m. I was sat here ready at 6 p.m. And then my body went, you know that protein you take? And I said, yeah. It says, don't want it. All right, evacuate.
What message did you send me last night about 2:15 in the morning while I was sat in bed? Oh, I want to be online for about 7:15 tomorrow. I was here.
I know, but my bowel movements, my old age, talking of old age.
And I was still sat there at 8:05, 8:10. This podcast finally got going at 27 minutes past 8. And the fact that the caliber of guests we've got on tonight is just so amazing, and you've left them all waiting. And they're not divas, but they will get fucked off with you.
They're on the verge, but all I'm going to say is Sean come over from my mum's, opened the front door and went, oh, wow. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I've not been very well. I'm not feeling well. Anyone else would have gone, no, cancel it. But our listeners mean more than that to us, don't they, Gimli?
That's it. Our listeners mean more to us than a big poo. Next up, the original Arsenal gent. It's David, Mr. Goonaholic. Hello, David.
Good evening, young Gim. Thank you for inviting me along again.
It's a pleasure. It's nice for you to be here, considering you had quite a thick head yesterday.
A decidedly thick one by the end of the night. Thank you very much. But a good day was had in great company, and the football wasn't bad for once.
Exactly. It's nice for us to play a big team and not sat here disappointed for a change. Next up, it's King of the Sauces. It's Geoff Arsenal. Hello, Geoff.
Yes. How you doing, Gimli?
Do you know what? We've pulled out all the big hitters tonight, haven't we?
Different class, mate. That's what I like to see.
You know who's coming next as well. And he's very special on this day of all days.
Old geezer.
Yeah, I reckon. 61 candles, eh? 61 candles. Genuinely, that's what I wrote.
Guaranteed he never blew them out himself. He ain't got that much hot air in him.
We'll hear his puff coming up next. And finally, we've got a deep pan pizza here with exactly 51 candles on it. Confirm or deny, is it your birthday, Raj Patel?
It is indeed. How are you, Gimli?
I'm very well. 51 candles, you said.
I know, I'm feeling old. I had a nice day off, actually. I had a nice lunch with my mum today. And now I'm doing a podcast for my birthday. There you go. That's just top of the poppermost, or whatever you call it. So yeah. Let's get on with it.
We will put that deep pan pizza, plus the candles, you're free to relight them when it gets to you, in the post.
Thank you very much. But tonight I had a pizza from Adrian's Pizza in Acton. So I like to advertise them, because they said they'd give me a free one if I mention them on the podcast. So that's tomorrow's dinner sorted out. So there you go.
So there is reason.
That was Adrian's. Was that Adrian's?
Hadrian's.
Adrian's. Okay.
Hadrian's Pizza in Acton.
It might do two then if I come over.
So that's a shout out to Hadrian's Pizza.
Yeah, Raj, listen, honestly, trust me, mate. They're not going to listen to no fucking podcast tonight. You could have got away with that one.
They're all Arsenal fans. They always listen.
All right.
Finest pizzas. Even with my gluten and lactose intolerant, I still love them.
Oh, somehow we managed to end the intros by going back to your shit.
It's not just his birthday. It's Parks Fife's birthday was on the 16th.
Ellis today,
and guess who's on? It's your birthday on Friday, isn't it, FK?
Yeah, it is. I'm hoping to get a couple of pubes in my teeth from arson, so we'll see how it goes. But I'll let you know.
Dead to us. Get out.
Wow. It's amazing. He really does pop up at some awkward moments, doesn't he?
And how many times in the last calendar 12 months, Gimli, 365 days, have we said happy birthday to Fife? His actual birthday, we've missed it on the Twitter.
Wasn't it agreed that he had 3 birthdays a year or something like that?
That's because he's one up from the Queen.
Yes, he is. He's
slumming it in Brazil, isn't he?
Yeah, he's showing us pictures of his steak that he got for 15 quid that was like fucking half a cow. You'd have half the family over, they wouldn't have finished that. Jesus wept.
Oh, you said steaks. I thought you said dates.
Oh.
That's entirely different.
Oh, for his sake, I certainly hope not. Especially not if he's hearing this with his missus. Right, Danny, we normally go to you for scores across the board and a lone watch, but I understand there isn't any. Do you want to explain why?
I could do it in the form of a mime.
Do it in the form of a mime.
that okay?
I think that explains everything that needs explaining. So we'll
Marcel
continue.
Marceau would not have been impressed, but Monsieur Le Petermain is now applauding you.
He's now chucking shapes in his grave.
We'll continue tonight's show by talking about our 3-1 home win against Cologne. The match was delayed an hour because of the Cologne fans entering the Arsenal end. So for his thoughts on the night and before the actual game, we're going to go to Raj.
It was one of the most strangest evenings we've ever had at the Emirates, and probably for me quite exciting. There was an edge to the evening. We all knew, or a lot of us knew that, a week before, we knew that there were going to be a shed load of Cologne fans in London, up to 20,000. And we just saw the videos on the afternoon of the day of the match where a lot of them marched down Islington. So when I got there at about 7 o'clock, you could see there was something going on, because I don't normally get to evening games until about 10, 15 minutes before the game, but I decided to meet a friend of mine and have something to eat in the ground. And so I got there about 7 o'clock, and the outside Arsenal station, it was absolutely packed. And it was not just Arsenal fans. There was absolutely hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Cologne fans as well. So we walked up over the bridge, and one of the old Bill, as he walked past me, he said, "Oh, the game's been delayed by an hour." So I thought, I wonder what that's happened. Got down to the entrances to the ground, and there was queues for every single entrance. I'm at kind of Gate E and Club North, and it was just massive queues. And then the word got round that apparently the Cologne fans had tried to jib in at the away end and destroyed a few turnstiles and stuff, and it all kicked off, and they decided to close the stadium. A few people had already got inside the ground, so they were stuck inside. But there was a definite edge to the whole evening. There wasn't any kind of panic. There wasn't huge amounts of trouble or anything. I heard there might be a couple of scuffles here and there, but nothing serious. I mean, the Cologne fans, you got to bear in mind that they haven't been in Europe for 25 years. And this was their first European game in ages. And it happened to be against one of the biggest clubs in the world, Arsenal, in one of the biggest cities in the world, London. So it was all stacked up to be one of those nights. And so it proved. We had to wait about an hour. We got in about 8 o'clock, and we walked in, and I was on club level, and it was bloody shitloads of German fans everywhere, left, right and centre. Some of them wearing colours when they shouldn't have been allowed to. Some of them wearing Arsenal scarves. The rumour had gone round that they'd realised that away colours weren't allowed, so they'd gone out and bought Arsenal scarves from the Arsenal shop. And some of them had even changed their screensavers on their phones to Arsenal logos rather than the Cologne logos, just to try and get in. They were absolutely desperate to get to see this game, and fair play to them. In terms of crowd control, there was none. There was no crowd control whatsoever. The stewards didn't know what was happening. When they let us all in, there was no security checks like they normally do. They normally check bags and they check your purse and everything. They just let us flood into the ground. And the atmosphere during the game was absolutely amazing. It was probably the best atmosphere I've experienced at the Emirates for a long time. I mean, if you spoke to a dad who'd come along there with an 8-year-old son, he'd probably have completely different views. I completely understand that. I know a lot of people went home as soon as they found out the game was delayed by an hour. A lot of people went home because they were going to miss the last train home. Some people couldn't be bothered, and some people were maybe intimidated by the atmosphere. I mean, 99% of the Cologne fans were fine. They were just been on the piss for about 9 hours beforehand, so they were just a bit lively and loud. And I said to my friend John, I said, of course, if we want to win this game, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Cologne team score the first goal just to see where all the fans were. And luckily, or unluckily, the Cologne did score first, and the whole of the clock end went up. It was not just the away fans. There was the two blocks to their left, plus a huge section of the upper tier. I mean, it was all where all the red members sit. So if you've ever been a red member and you buy tickets, you see there's a lot of tickets available 2 months before, 1 month before in the upper tier in the clock end. And they all went mental there. And then there were pockets of fans all around the ground, and most at club level. And you've got to understand that club level is open to anyone. If you buy a lot of them have bought £400, 3-course meals and all sorts just to see the team. They weren't interested in the meal. They'd have to spend 400 quid to see the team. And for those people that had red member tickets, well, it only cost them 15 quid to get in, so it was an absolute bargain for the day. Geoff, what did you think about all that?
Oh, you know what? I echo what you're saying, Raj. It was the atmosphere was absolutely phenomenal. It was brilliant. I was in block 113, which is right on the halfway line, in row 1. Funny enough, it was fantastic seats for the night. And when I got in the ground, I got in there about 45 minutes before the kickoff. And when I come in the ground, you could hear as you're walking from the concourse into your seat. Because you hear all this noise, and I'm thinking this is unusual for 113 because it is one of the quietest blocks. Those centre blocks are very, very quiet. When I got in, it was incredible what I saw, because from 1111, which was to the left, to the right of me, if I'm looking at the pitch, all the way around to blocks 119 or 120 and 121, which is like you said about where all the red members are. It was honestly the majority of all those blocks at the time were Cologne fans. And I never experienced any trouble. I never experienced any, bad mouthing or piss taking or anything like that. Of course, they were speaking in German, so my German's not very good. But it was an amazing experience, honestly. And I've never ever seen so many away fans at a home stadium, Arsenal anyway, Highbury or the Emirates. I mean, and there was a lot made of it. There's a lot made of it in the press. They jumped on it straight away, and I think there was a bit of a skirmish when the Cologne fans was trying to get into the stadium. A few of the barriers got pushed over and stuff like that. And after I had a bit of a spot too with that Darren Lewis, the Daily Mirror man, straight after it, who was I heard on the way home he was talking on Talk Sport, and he was just rubbish that he was coming out with, just sensationalising the whole evening, and taking away and trying to make a bigger thing of it, and what they did and what they didn't do, and it was a disgrace, and I never experienced that at all. I mean, obviously, I had to walk around the ground before the stadium. I walked right past the away fan section. I even put it on Periscope. It's the first time I've ever seen police cars on the concourse outside the stadium. There was 4 or 5 police cars on the concourse as we walked past.
First time we've seen dogs, mate.
First time we've seen dogs, the right police. But
and there's the right police with their batons and shields on club level. Yeah. Just keep an eye out for things. I mean, do you think that Arsenal were a bit bullshitting a little bit when they said that they blamed the 9,000 tickets on touts? I just don't believe that.
Guaranteed, yeah. No,
I think they did allow red members, them to become red members. I mean, think about it. It's 30 quid or 35 quid to become a red member, £15 to buy the ticket. That's 60 quid to go and see Arsenal play away. Plus your ferry or whatever.
As you well know, Raj, I'm in the corporate hospitality business, and obviously we do a lot of stuff for football and have a lot of contacts. And I promise you now, there's no way in the world there was it wasn't a game for that. The game wasn't making any money. There wasn't really a black market reason for it. So there's no way in the world touts would have sold 10,000 tickets to Cologne fans. They have definitely. I mean, I know Arsenal have disputed it, but and they said that the tickets went on off sale as soon as the game was announced. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that at all.
No way in the world, no. And I know for a fact that they grafted them. They wouldn't give Cologne. They asked for a bigger allocation. They said, no, we can't give you a bigger allocation. And they made them pay £450 per ticket for all those club level tickets that normally go to. I've got some corporates as well in the club level, round in 60. I think it's 61 to 71. All those that go round the corner there. And there was thousands of them, and they was all Germans, all Cologne fans, right? So they wouldn't give them the allocation because it was a 15 quid or a 17 pound ticket, because they wanted to charge them 450 quid. And they created it themselves. They should have just given the 6 or 7 or 8,000, or maybe even 9,000. They should have given that whole end, right, and let them have a party. And you know what? Honestly, I never ever, even coming out after the game, I stopped and had a coffee, and there was no trouble outside. I never saw any trouble before or after. And it's not something that's new. Football fans have been finding ways to get into stadiums for years and years. I mean, we only did it a couple of years ago. I did the same for when we played Monaco away.
I've got mates who did it for the Champions League final.
Yeah,
you do anything to go and see a team play in a massive game, and for them that was their Champions League final, wasn't it? Really,
exactly.
And it was. I just thought it was fantastic. I mean, it was. I was a bit disappointed with the way Arsenal dealt with things. I thought the crowd control could have been better, the information could have been better, but the atmosphere inside. It'll be a long time before we see that. I mean, I've been to most games at the Emirates, and I can't really remember anything like that before. No. And whether it happened again, I don't know. I mean, Dave, Gim, Danny. I mean, what do you think from watching from outside, from watching from TV and stuff?
I have to say, from what I thought, it depended on where you sat as to what your view of that would be. Because, like you say, I saw the social media posts from the fathers who took kids, who couldn't get to their seats, didn't know what was going on, didn't get help from the stewards to find alternative seats, and ended up like standing at the back just watching it that way. But the majority of people that I know have all commented favourably. Like you said, it was an atmosphere. It was lucky that it was Cologne that were there on the night, and it wasn't perhaps one of the other teams we'll face in the group bringing too many supporters over, because obviously you wouldn't expect them to be as well behaved. But there's kind of this link between us and Cologne, isn't there, that's been forged out of Tony Woodcock and Lucas Podolski. So in the end, I think the fact that it went off pretty well natured was down to that, not the policing, not the stewarding.
It's true. It would have been a lot. I bet it would have been a lot different if it was someone like Napoli, or one of the Italian teams. It would have.
Wait till Belgrade come.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine that? If Belgrade bring half the number, we're in trouble. Because they're all nutters, aren't they? I can't wait for that game.
We should also say how well our fans behaved as well amongst all of it as well, because there takes two teams to make a football match and two lots of supporters, and from what I saw, like David said, with the right or the wrong, depending on whether you've got kids or why you were there. Everything that I saw about our supporters, apart from one fucking snapcap dickhead that was ordering people to get together and fight, everybody else seemed like they embraced the occasion and enjoyed the atmosphere. And surely we should be calling for a little bit more of that from our own fans at our own stadium. Danny? Or Raj? Yeah. Go Raj.
No, there's a lot of bemusement amongst our lot as well, because in Germany, apparently, home and away fans do mix without any problems. And so Cologne fans had no problem sitting with the Arsenal fans. But for us, it was a bit weird having a German speaking. I mean, I learned a lot of German that night because I was surrounded by them all night. But they were a great bunch. They were really nice. And it was just, I mean, I was a bit disappointed with the reactions of some fans who did go there. Someone on club level who I know well was really pissed off that there were Germans everywhere in club level, but that one level is open to anyone, really.
I don't get it. You go to watch a game of football. What's the problem? What's the difference? Just watch the game. If you got what does it really anger you that they? Why should it anger you that the other team scored? It's a game. You go and watch the football. You want entertainment. If the other team scored and the guy jumps up, good luck to him. What difference does it make?
Did you notice all the boxes were full of Germans as well? They were spending They spent millions getting into that game. I mean, honestly,
fair play to them. Honestly,
fair play. It was a great night, Gim. It was just absolutely wonderful, and that's what perhaps the Europa League is compared to the Champions League. Champions League, we kind of, I don't want to be negative, but it's not really a competition that we can really compete in, and we've proved that over the years and stuff. And although it's nice to be in the Champions League, the Europa League, a lot more teams think they've got a chance of going further. So I reckon it'll be a little bit more competitive, this competition, to be quite honest.
Embrace it, I say. I'll have a right go at it. I think it's brilliant.
And I'm one of the guys who's turned his nose up against the Europa League and was a snob and stuff. I thought, no, I'll go and check it out. And it was absolutely brilliant. And I think, the next one's Belgrade, I think, and even Borisov, whoever they are, they'll bring a whole load. And it'll be fantastic. Danny, you've been a bit quiet.
Yeah, I was just editing the website, trying to catch up because our website hasn't been working for a day or so. So just putting up yesterday's radio show onto iTunes. So going to get they're going to get 2 lots today. Yeah, the fans are brilliant. I'm a big fan of German football, and there's that thing at Dortmund, the yellow wall, where it's like a 60, 70,000 seat stadium, and everyone's jumping and shouting and screaming for the whole game. That's because most of the clubs in the Bundesliga are fan owned. I think there's Wolfsburg aren't, and I think one other team are the Red Bull team that aren't Red Bull, and I think there might be one other one as well. But they're fan owned, and so you feel more of a part of the club. You feel that when we moved to the Emirates, we all know we all became a number, and whether we were just seen as cash cows. But you don't get that feeling in German football, and that's why German football is such a wonderful thing to see, and they get so involved in it, and the amount of passion from those fans. I'm not sure. I think maybe we should call this podcast the Podolski and Woodcock Derby, because both of those two played for both of our teams. But the Sky News were going mental about it, and LBC were going mental, saying, "Oh no, there's going to be riots. The place is going to get smashed up. There's all these fans going mental." And I looked at them walking down the one of the roads coming up near Highbury, and I thought, well, they don't seem to be smashing anything up there. They just seem to be walking down the street, singing songs and having a good time, which is what football should be about. Yeah. But I think
on the main concourse at half time, they was having sing-offs.
Yeah, I saw you put a video of it.
Oh, it was so good. It was absolutely brilliant. And you know what I did? I enjoyed it so much. I waited at the end of the game, right, to see the Cologne players go over to the Cologne fans. And as I was standing there, it was amazing, right? And I was watching them stream. You know, you can walk around the Emirates, can't you? And inside the stadium, you see a load of patter of people kept on walking round, all the way around. And there was so it's amazing how many people that was in other areas of the stadium, right? The Cologne fans that was obviously walking around to congregate to congratulate the players. It was we was laughing. It was just incredible.
I think people... Go on.
Go on, Geoff. I was going to say, Geoff, I'll stick with you. Do you think there's an excuse for European football meaning more to the lesser clubs, sort of like, fans like Cologne? So when they turn up and they're playing their first game in Europe, or they're just excited to be able to go away to a different country and support their team and play against a team like Arsenal, not meaning to sound big-headed.
It was a breath of fresh air. It really was. And the normal, that Champions League stuff when they're you just know exactly what's going to happen with the fans. They're segregated, and we just turn up. They don't really sing a lot. It was the atmosphere was superb. And these away supporters. I know the away supporters. I mean, our away support's always loud. I was at Chelsea at the weekend when no doubt talk about that, and the support was great. The away fans always do make a lot of noise, right? But I watched some of these games that I do watch in Germany and stuff. The away supporters, it's like choreographed, right? And they're organised, and the noise they make is incredible. We're light years behind that mob. Honestly, we really are.
Mm. But it's not going to be like, I know, like all the people who don't know football and all the dramatisationists of the news and reports like that. It's not like we were playing a Turkish team where the majority of them are all mental and they want to come over here and kill us. These were just football-loving German fans who was here to enjoy football the way they do in their country. And when we play Batisov, which I've said that wrong, but that's the team that Alexandra Hleb played for 4 separate occasions. And so when we go to places like that, that's when you are going to see some mental fans, because when they're over that part of the world, they're so cold all the time. Like me, I'm cold all the time. That's why I'm so angry.
Lovely. I think we should probably talk about the on-field events then. And David, we'll go to you. Cordoba scored a fantastic goal. Ospina at fault for that one, do you think?
I think pretty much, yeah. He came out and made a kicked clearance just outside of his box. Didn't kick it very far. It bounced off one of their guys to this Cordoba. And the finish on the swivel from, well, people were saying 40 yards. I thought they were being a bit generous. But nonetheless, he was a good 35 maybe. And he just cleared the backpedaling Ospina by some distance, and it bounced in the empty net. And it was 9 minutes in, and you kind of think, well, Arsenal have put out a weakened side. I think they made 9 changes from the weekend game, and you wondered, have we perhaps made too many? Have we left ourselves a little bit weak? And the whole of the first half, it seemed like the same thing, the same story. We didn't really have any sense of urgency or cohesion. We were wasteful in possession of the ball. But after half time, it picked up and it turned into a different game. And that was really the introduction, first of all, of Kolasinac. who turned the game when he absolutely larruped one in at the near post. And you say the goalkeeper might have been to blame for that. I don't think anyone was going to get anywhere near that. No. And that turned the entire thing. And from 1-1, there was only ever going to be one winner. And the second goal, I suppose we'll remember for a long, long time. I think it was Iwobi played a ball out a bit far left for Alexis, who'd come on as a substitute. No, he started the game, didn't he?
Yeah, Iwobi started in centre mid.
Yeah, and then Alexis galloped out the left flank, recovered it, cut inside, about 2 or 3 challenges, and curled a peach into inside the far post from the edge of the box. And that must have been worth the entrance money alone, particularly if you're that end of the ground. And from then on, it was just one-way traffic, and the third goal arrived. Again, Kolasinac was involved. What a player he's turning into. He hit a cross that Jack Wilshere dummied. Theo Walcott had an effort rather comfortably, well, it should have been comfortably saved by the goalkeeper, but all he did was he parried it out to Hector Bellerin, who slammed it back in. And nutmegged him in the process. Timo Horn was in goal for them, for those who know their German national side. So what could have been a very difficult game turned into a bit of a stroll for the Arsenal. But they got a scare in the first 45 minutes, and they know now they can't go taking liberties with the other teams in this competition just because they're not of Champions League standard.
Mm. We'll try and pick this one apart then. We'll talk about the inclusion of Kolasinac. Raj, we'll go to you. What a fantastic goal he scored, and his work rate is just incredible, isn't it? He's just unstoppable.
No, he's been very impressive from the start of the season, and last Thursday he was excellent again. I mean, I don't know how he gets that kind of speed going, because he is absolutely massive. I mean, if you see him in real life, he is huge. It's like a brick shithouse with wheels going downhill.
like Danny.
Well, yeah.
How did I know that was going to come up? I'm poorly. Leave me alone.
He's done really well. I mean, he's so long as Arsene Wenger plays him at left back, then he's going to do well. And he was very impressive. Took the goal really well. He defends very well, and he kind of communicates with the players. You can see him always talking to the players and stuff. So maybe they appreciate that as well. A lot more communication on the pitch. So good luck to him. I just think he's whoever, as I said earlier on, whoever found him from our scouts, or whether it's Arsene Wenger, gets 100% credit from me, because that's an absolute steal.
Mm. And Geoff, do you think there's any coincidence in the last 3 games, Ox being gone, Kolasinac playing, and us getting results? What do you think Kolasinac brings to the team that maybe Ox didn't? I know they're playing in different roles, but it's the same side, and we're seeing results, aren't we, since that change?
He's a lot more aggressive to start with. He's got a great attitude. And like Dave said, when he come on, he literally just changed the game on his own. Even just, before, the couple of minutes before we scored the goal, where our game down the left-hand side was totally different to when Maitland-Niles was playing down the left-hand side. Let's just hope he can keep it up. I mean, we've had this before when players come and they have a decent honeymoon period, and then all of a sudden it drops off a little bit. We've had that with a few youngsters that come in and a few players that come in as well. So hopefully he'll maintain that, and he'll go on. He's already a bit of a cult hero already, and he's only been here 5 minutes. So if he carries on, I can see him. His name will be up in lights at Arsenal if we can carry on, especially if we can win a few things with him.
Definitely so. Danny, I'll go to you. Jack Wilshere. I think we all thought he was a bit of a shoe-in for a start against Cologne. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. He was on the bench. I think he came on around the 57th, 67th minute, but it was a 22-minute cameo from Wilshere, and he looked superb, didn't he?
Oh, that was my highlight of the match, if not the season. The moment he come on and the stadium just cheered and roared him. And then the first time he touched the ball, which was a little bit a while later, they cheered him again. And you could see, and he was just so up for it. And I've been saying ever since the the end of not last season but the season before that, when people were wondering about his future, I said, don't you worry, Jack will be back, and Jack is back, and he had some wonderful touches. He's you see some of the balls that he's been doing for the under-23s across the length of the pitch, pinpointing it to people. He's still got it, and people are going, oh, he's can't do it because he's never fit, but it's not his fault he's never fit. Just that he's such a good player and a bit of a Jack the lad that people kick him and people go after him, and that's how he gets his injuries. It's not like Ramsey, where unfortunately Ramsey sometimes breaks down because he's played too soon, or he's brought back from injury too soon, or he plays too long, or like a Wobie who can only run around for 60 minutes before he has a coronary, or Santi where he's just made of chocolate.
Constantly broken.
That's it. It's wonderful to see him, and that was the highlight of the night for me. And I'm surprised that he wasn't on the bench at least for Chelsea, because I reckon if he'd have come on in that game against Chelsea, he'd have livened it up. But I know we're going to talk about that later, so I'll leave it till then. But he's definitely going to start this week against Doncaster. He's going to get a few more games in the UEFA Cup, and I reckon by just after Christmas, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it into the first team, because it looks like a lot of people are coming to the realisation, sadly, that Ozil isn't. If we accommodate the team for Ozil, the team lacks because of Ozil. And it's not Ozil's fault, really. People aren't on the same level.
We're coming to that. Chelsea's next.
Oh, I'll forget about that then. But yeah, come the end of the season, come Christmas time, you watch Jack will be back in the starting 11, and hopefully we'd have changed our midfield to a midfield 3, and you watch Ramsey go, and you watch Jack do his magic. And then they'll run into each other and both drop dead or knowing our luck. But yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I love German football. Plenty of stuff. I think the Spina's thing with come running out, he did it again in the second half, didn't he? And poor old Steve was shitting kittens, screaming Jerry Payton and making a voodoo doll of Jerry Payton and stabbing it with whatever he could get his hands on. But yeah, it was a good thing, and it's good to see that we can come back from going 1 down to a shitty goal like that. And I think the first half, they definitely had the better of the first half as well. Yeah, I enjoyed the game. It's good. I mean, I think the fans made a massive difference for it as well. And like Raj was saying, it's we didn't think the Europa League was going to be all that good, but so far, one brilliant game, one brilliant atmosphere.
Fantastic. You talk about the touches of Jack Wilshere. I want to talk about the non-touches of Jack Wilshere. That step over David for the third goal and Bellerin's first and only goal of the night. Was fantastic, wasn't it, in the build-up play?
Yeah, absolutely. And he has looked in pretty good shape, even in the under-23 games as well. He's maybe just a yard off the pace at the moment, but that's only to be expected. He's been out a long time with a bad injury. I do think he can come back and play again, but for how long is the query, because everybody knows the ankle that he's got is made of glass. It's hanging on by a couple of band-aids, and everyone we play against rotationally fouls him on that ankle. So I think that's going to be an ongoing issue for him. And it's sad to say that, really sad.
And Raj Bellerin, a player that's been controversial. We heard over the summer that he might have wanted out of Arsenal Football Club. But he showed he's still loved and he can still put in a performance and weighed in with the last goal of the evening.
He's still a good player. Whether he wanted it out or not, he's stayed kind of true to us. And his last couple of games, including Chelsea, he's been very, very good. So we've got to stay with these players. I tell you what, maybe things are starting to change now in our favour. So the next 8 to 10 games are going to be really important for us. But if we carry on like we are in Europe and also domestically, then I think we're going to give ourselves a chance, because I think, some of these big teams that we were worried about, early in the season, well, they're not doing as well as I think anymore. So we've got a sniff of success this season. But again, as Geoff says and Dave says, it's way too early to start getting excited and stuff. So just sit tight and just go for every game and see what happens after every game. But Bellerin's been, he's getting better and better, and we just got to stay facing these players.
And Geoff, do you know anything about the situation with Bellerin? Obviously, Ornstein said that he wanted out over the summer. Was there any reason why he stayed in particular? Did a bid just not come in?
Yeah, I think he refuted a lot of that stuff on Twitter, didn't he, during the course of that particular. But to be honest, I've been disappointed with him. I think he stood still. I really don't think he's made any improvement since when he, his first 6 months when he burst onto the scene. I don't think he's made that much improvement at all. you know, I don't think he played that well yesterday. I think he was maybe one of our worst players. And I mean, they all played okay, but if I was to pick somebody, I think it was Hector Bellerin. I'm not sure, you know. I'm really not sure, and I don't think that there was that much interest in him. All that stuff about Barcelona, I really can't see that, mate. I don't think he's nowhere near the quality that Barcelona would want.
No. With that, then, we should talk about Sunday's game yesterday, seeing as we now do this on a Monday. And it was a 0-0 draw against Chelsea, a very respectable result for many. And Geoff, what did you make of that game?
Well, it was a bit different from what we've been expecting. What I liked about it was that we went there, and at least the players must have paid attention in the team meetings, and they carried out and you know they adhered to the instructions given, i.e. Don't give too much away. You've got to go out there, and you know you're going to have to earn the right to play. Sorry about the cliche, earn the right to play, but defend correctly. Now, if you defend correctly, you give yourself a chance, because we have got players up top that can score you goals. And you know what I liked about it was they was very, very disciplined. They was very strong. They was very compact. And Chelsea really didn't trouble us that on that many occasions. And I was a little bit disappointed in the end that we didn't come away with a win. I thought we really, really done well. But you know, it's only what they should be doing. Unfortunately, it's not what we expected, what we have been expecting, because of their couple of previous performances. One, you know, the Liverpool game battered us. It battered our confidence. I think the Stoke game before that, I think we was unlucky. I thought we played well at Stoke, but we just didn't get one of those games. The Liverpool game, we was fucking woeful. You know, there was no excuse for it. But again, it was about attitude, application on the pitch. They just didn't turn up that day. Why? I don't know. You know, and people say, he got the tactics wrong and this and that, and you don't sort out before they go on the pitch. He just lets them play. Arsene Wenger, yes, he does. His philosophy is an attacking a football team, and if you are an attacking football team, no doubt you're going to concentrate more in your training sessions with your attacking players. But that doesn't mean to say you've got to seek goals and not concentrate properly and make stupid individual errors. You know, where our players are good enough, as long as they go out and they do, you know, for that time that they're out there, got to be very, very mindful that other teams like Chelsea, like City and others, as soon as you give the ball away and you've got six players in their final third of the pitch, you're going to get punished. Well, we wasn't doing that yesterday. We wasn't flooding players forward. You know, we was very mindful of the attack that they had, and we come away with a point. And like I said, I was a little bit disappointed with only a point, which is a good thing. Raj?
I was over the moon with that. The draw was fine. Getting the point was fine. It was the performance that I was really impressed with. I don't think, apart from Pedro's chance in the first half when Cesc Fabregas put him through, they didn't have much to do, and Czech didn't have much to do in the first half, and I thought we controlled the game really well. I mean, in fact, we should be a little bit disappointed that we didn't win the game, because I think Lacazette had a very good chance to score as well. So it was very impressive, and as I said a few minutes ago, we've just got to try and bottle this and get it moving. It was interesting. I think Gim's got a question coming up about Alexis Sanchez and Ozil and stuff, but their absence, well, a lot of people thought we'd be in trouble, including myself, but to be honest, it seemed to galvanise our team to play together, play as a team, play in a cohesive unit. It was an excellent performance, and I've got nothing more to say than that.
That's fair enough. I will ask the question to David then. David, no Ozil or Alexis, obviously. I don't think it was massively made aware that Ozil was injured. Alexis on the bench. Are you surprised at that? I mean, performance aside, let's take it back to you're seeing the team sheet. What are your feelings?
I think we knew on Saturday night it started going around social media that Ozil wasn't going to be there on the Sunday. Now, the timing of that suggests that the injury, well, let me not go there, because you know where people have gone with that. And I really don't know whether or not he was injured or whether it was a tactical decision. Whatever went on, we went out there with a side that I thought was built to do a job. And he quite surprised me because I thought he was going to play with the two full wing backs pulled back. So effectively we went in there with a back five because Chelsea have been very good at hitting us on the flanks, on the break when we played them before with our normal setup. I thought that Danny Welbeck was selected ahead of Alexis mainly because of the work he does when we're pressing up high. He doesn't stop, and he also gave us a little something as well alongside a double target, if you like, with Alex Lacazette, who apart from the couple of chances he missed, his link-up play, he was willing to come back and retrieve the ball, play with the midfielders around him. And the midfield was the other surprise. Geoff will know the game tactically far better than I, and he may have a different view. But I expected Iwobi to be played as a direct replacement for Ozil, which was what they were doing with him last season. He was the understudy. He did come in and do that job. But he seemed to be played out to the right-hand side. When we went forward, Aaron Ramsey was the guy who was coming into the hole. And actually, when Geoff says we didn't venture forward in numbers a lot, when Ramsey went, more often than not, Koscielny came out of the middle of the back three, and he was playing as kind of alongside Xhaka and helping to keep the situation moving forward. And that caught me by surprise. I dare say it caught Chelsea by surprise, but it did. It relied on us being accurate with our distribution and being swift with our distribution, and we were in both respects. Like Raj says, the performance was everything, and we have every reason to be proud of the performance. Like Arsene Wenger said afterwards, I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get the win because we were far and away the better side.
And Danny, Oxlade-Chamberlain gone, Ozil didn't start, and Alexi on the bench. Is he giving us a taste of next season when obviously they've all gone? I mean, this team wasn't too bad, and there were unsung heroes on the days. For me, I thought Mustafi had a fantastic game. Again, for me, Koscielny looked like a player that is not 31 or 32, is he? He looked like a fucking 25-year-old bloke that day. It was a fantastic team performance, wasn't it?
Sometimes the players around you can make you look better or make you look worse. So I was talking to someone on Twitter, and they were saying they're surprised that Mustafi played in the centre of the back three, because we all had him down, as well I did, as he was a right back, that maybe he could play in the right back position. But I think maybe you need to be more mobile by playing in that. Either have more mobile or more experience by playing in the centre of the back three, which is why I like Per there, because I did say on the radio show that he's getting a little bit slower. That's a little bit like saying I'm getting a bit fat and a bit bald. But yeah, maybe Koscielny doesn't have to work as hard by playing out on the right hand side, and Mustafi playing in there. But Koscielny, like you said, he got an Opta rating of 7.7. Mustafi is 7.3. Monreal, I don't think has really had a bad game for us ever at centre back. And when I say I don't want him as a centre back, that's because I want a proper centre back there. But he did brilliant. He's Monreal's numbers, according to Squawka, I think that's who they are. They were fantastic numbers. And oddly, Kolasinac only got a 7.1, which I thought, and a yellow card. I mean, he should have got extra points just for the yellow card because it was brilliant. And Ramsey got man of the match, hit the post. I don't know, who was it who came in after Ramsey hit the post and skied him? Was it Welbeck?
Lacazette.
I think he was slightly falling over backwards when he was going for that, though. But there's a couple of times in that game where he could have got that one goal. I don't think that Chelsea ever really looked like they were going to win it, because although they had some really good players who usually run rings around people like Pedro, Fabregas, Conte was really quiet. Them two only got an Opta rating of 7.3. Willian might as well have not been there. Morata, I thought Morata is going to be one of the outstanding strikers in this coming season, but he wasn't. It's just really nice to see that, like you were saying, where we are seeing players. If you'd have said at the beginning of the season we'd be playing Iwobi and Welbeck behind Lacazette, someone would have thought, behave yourself, that's never going to happen. Welbeck's now out for a month. Iwobi still doesn't look like he can go an entire game. And whereas neither of them were terrible, neither of them were brilliant. And so I think we still have got issues playing someone behind the main striker, which is why I'd like to see someone drop back into midfield and have a midfield of maybe Ramsey, Xhaka plus one other, and then have someone playing off of Lacazette or Giroud, like Sanchez. I mean, Sanchez playing off of the main striker, I think that would be a dream for me, because it'd say, Sanchez, go on, have a Gaza role, go have the Bergkamp role, go do what you want. I think that'd be brilliant.
And Geoff, we saw glimpses of Ramsey and Xhaka at centre mid last season, or the back end of the season. And I remember from being on this show, we spoke very, very highly of that partnership. How good was Ramsey yesterday? And what does Xhaka and Ramsey bring to the table at centre mid?
Well, it looks like finally they just seem to be, cutting it together. They know what they're doing. I think that the problem is that, or the problem has been in big games like that, has been unfortunately Mesut Ozil. In them big games, like I say, when if you lose possession and they break on you, you can get punished really, really quickly. As much as I love Mesut, and he's truly an outstanding footballer, one of the world's greatest footballers, I'm afraid I'm not sure he suits the English game. I'm not sure he suits Arsenal Football Club playing in that role that he's playing in. Because defensively, he's a passenger, and I know he runs about a lot, but that's not. He don't really tackle. You never see him win a header or anything like that. And you just know if you're coming up against Mesut Ozil that he's going to let you. You can run past him. Because he's not. Although he might track back, but he's not really going to get his foot in. He's like a passenger, and I think that was the difference that you saw yesterday. That we had players that was, they was more in tune with doing what they was asked to do, and that's get back in, get the shape right, get everybody behind the ball. Two banks of a 4 and a 5, maybe even once the other team have got the ball. And when we play with Mesut, although like I say, he does come back in, he's not really a threat defensively, and I think that's the big difference. Them two now, Xhaka and Ramsey. Once they've got that little bit of support, because Ramsey does like to break forward, that, and that's part of his game. And I think he's, hopefully he can crack on now, and he'll get a few goals when he does go forward. His game has improved, over the time, and I think it will improve. They love him in the Wales camp. He's like a world beater.
You think, Geoff, as well with Ramsey, if he can put that kind of performance in against Chelsea, he puts that kind of performance in against anyone from place 10 down. He's getting goals, isn't he?
Yeah, well, listen, it's plain to see. He's done it before on numerous occasions. We know he's got the ability, but it's getting that run together where he can stay healthy and fit into the team where we get the best out of him. If we're trying to get the best out of him, we're trying to get the best out of Mesut, we're trying to get the best out of Alexis Sanchez. Maybe there's this too, freeze a crowd. I don't know. Maybe there's something it's all about getting the balance right. And if we don't get the balance right, you see what happens, in previous matches. But you have a big part of the game now in the Premier League is defending correctly. If you can defend correctly, we have got enough players that can score us goals up top, and that is the main thing about it. The situation with obviously Ozil being out yesterday and obviously Alexis being on the bench, I think this rolls back to Liverpool when I think the gaffer, he's fed up. He got fed up with having to put up with all the shit that's going on. Alexis looking like he wants to go. Chamberlain more or less basically signed for Liverpool when he played that day. And the defeat that we had after that game, he had, he had a team meeting and he said, that's it. I only want people that are definitely committed to this football club and I'm going to run with them. Obviously, Ozil and Sanchez haven't actually committed to the football club for new contracts. I don't know whether or not he's sticking by his word and he's going to run with that. And we may be seeing this through the rest of the season. We'll have to see.
Well, I think, Geoff, from looking at it from the face of things and from the Chelsea game, if he does stick with that, then fair play to him for sticking to his guns. I mean, we know he's a cantankerous old bastard, don't we? But Raj, we'll go to you. And it was a very workmanlike performance. Do you think that we lose players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, who when the game isn't going our way, his head drops? We lose players like Ozil, who when the game isn't going his way, his head drops. Those players aren't included into the team. And we have players like Kolasinac, who doesn't even think twice about going in a 50-50 with David Luiz and chucking his whole body weight in there and absolutely smashing his chest like fucking Tarzan because he's so up for the occasion. we replace Oxlade-Chamberlain with players like him, and we've got a team that actually shows a bit of fight for a change. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, well, but the other thing that Geoff maybe missed was that I think we just stuck to the roles that were assigned to us. And with players like Ozil and Sanchez, who are, a level above in terms of creativity and stuff, they tend to give themselves a bit of a free role, probably going against the coach's instructions and whatever. So that's what happens is when those two play, although we might get some goals out of them, they kind of expose everyone else. So, yeah, I mean, Kolasinac he's got enormous. I think he's got enormous influence over the rest of the team. I think they're beginning to like him. They're beginning to respect him. He could well be a future captain. You never know.
Sorry,
yes,
go on, carry on.
No, go on. You go, Geoff. Go on.
The amazing is if you just have a look at it, that we've sold Oxlade-Chamberlain for £40 million and we've got Kolasinac for a free. Yeah. Fucking hell! It looks like it should have been switched the other way around at the moment, mate. I mean it.
Well, if we'd let's face it, if we'd spent £40 million on Kolasinac, we'd all be going, what a bargain, and we got him for nothing. So, but let's not. I mean, look. I was. We're all kind of 2 weeks ago. We were all depressed and stuff, including myself. And we've had 2 decent wins since then, and we're all up for it. But I'm just trying to rein everyone back to say, let's see what happens. But I jokingly said at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning that the team that just been announced was a preview of next year's lineup. And to be quite honest, after the way they played, well, if that is next year's lineup, then we might be all right. Maybe we don't need Ozil. Maybe we don't need Sanchez. It's more than likely they're both going to go in the next 9 months anyway. So I don't think we'll miss them, And if we can build on what we've got at the moment, then you never know what's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm being unreasonably positive at the moment. You know what happens next week when if we draw or lose or something like that.
Surely, though, Raj, if you take Alexis Sanchez, you take Mesut Ozil out of that situation, say a half-decent transfer window. I know we can all scoff at that with the way we do our business, but surely with a decent transfer window and the players that he has there, we've got a half-decent team again, aren't we? I know we're already talking about next season. Like we've been
saying for years we've only been 2 or 3 players short. We've been saying it. Geoff said it. Dave said it. I've said it. Everyone said it. We've only been 2 or 3 years short. I just want everyone to be a little bit cagey. Let's see what happens. Let's just, as I said a couple of weeks ago, me and Geoff and John and a couple of others, we're just going to go in there for a laugh and see what happens, And if it works out nicely, then we'll all be celebrating. So let's not kind of go overboard. I mean, look, there's a few people on Twitter who think we've won the league, because we drew against Chelsea. Well, look, that's not happening. But just take it one step at a time and let's not get too excited. But yesterday was a great performance. It's a shame we could have won that game, and that's the only disappointment in my eyes. And hopefully that set a marker out for the next few games. Cross fingers. West Brom next week will pick up 3 points and start going up the table.
Yes, and we won't talk about our league position. We won't do our Arsenal happiness out of 10 because of Danny's poorly body. It is quite late. Well,
I'll give my Arsenal happiness for the last 7 days as 9.
Would you really? Actually, no, fuck it. Let's do them.
Yeah, I'll give it. We got 2 wins. A win in Europe and a draw against Chelsea. But as I said, keep the result to one side and just look at the performance. And I thought, yeah, okay, I've never given a 9, but I'll give him a 9 this week.
Fair enough. David, let's have yours.
I'd agree with that. I said in my preview when I did it at the weekend that I thought it's all well and good that we've won 2 games in a row, but you're not going to be measured on what you do against Bournemouth and Cologne at home. You're going to be measured on what you do away at Stamford Bridge. And we came through it with almost flying colours. Like I say, disappointed we didn't win because we should have done. But the performance was just something else. So 8.
Fantastic. Geoff?
Yeah, I've got to go 9. Good win against Bournemouth. Good win against Cologne. Atmosphere was great at that one. The enjoyment of it was brilliant. And I went away at Chelsea. And, it's not too bad, really. You look at, Chelsea used to be, they've been a bit of a bogey team for us. But we're now, I think, only 1 defeat in 5 against Chelsea. So that's not too bad. But I'll go 9, definitely.
Wonderful. And Fat Man Poop?
I am as happy as Wayne Rooney when he discovered his 100 hours of community service would be at an old people's home.
Lovely stuff, but that still wasn't a mark out of 10.
12-6. That's what Wayne Rooney said.
A popty ping.
An 8. Yeah, it would have been a bit more if Jack would have come on against Chelsea, and imagine Jack and Xhaka and Kolasinac all kicking people. Oh.
Do we all think Jack's got a future? I do. I mean, he was only on for a little while on Thursday, but I would describe him as quietly efficient, and he knew what he had to do. He didn't have to go mental, just put the passes in, and I thought that's what we want to see, and stay off his back. But I think he still has a future at the club. Dave, what do you think?
I'm probably in the opposite camp by now.
Really?
I really think he's in the shop window at the moment. I think the problems with his ankle are going to be difficult for him to overcome.
So do you think it's a case of keeping him fit and getting him a few games here and there and hoping someone takes a bait, David?
Yeah, for his sake more than anything else. I think he can do a job somewhere, but I think at the highest level that everybody knows what's going on with that ankle, and he's always going to be targeted.
Fair enough. I think we should also say we should give a shout out to Reece Nelson, who got some minutes against Cologne as well. What a bright prospect he is. And I, from what I saw of him on that game as well, he looked good, didn't he, Geoff?
Yeah, they fancy him and all. The coaches, they think he's a fantastic prospect. I hope he just keeps his feet on the ground. He's got great balance, isn't he? Great touch on the ball, plenty of pace. He's got great confidence as well. So, I think we'll be seeing a little bit more of him this year. Obviously game by game. The more he obviously he's in the first team squad all the time now. The more we see of him on the pitch, I should imagine he'll get a game against Donny. So we know maybe he's one to look out for. We might have got one, but we've said that on so many other occasions, haven't we? So again, you've got to be careful.
Yes, indeed. Danny, move us on with some listener questions. Dave has about 30, say half an hour. It shouldn't go on for, that's 10 o'clock.
Lovely. Right. Lack of Dignity, that's LACA, says, this one will go to you, Mr. Hollick. He says, is this the year we finally get our seat back at the big boy table and mount a proper challenge for the title?
Let me say, I don't think we're really going to know until the tops or the recognised top 6 have all played each other at least once. I think then there's going to be a pecking order, and then we will understand. Yes, at this point of the season, I'd like to be optimistic because that's the way I'm built. And I do think we're in with a shout of challenging as things stand at the moment. And that's on the basis that we did produce a performance yesterday when we most definitely needed to. So at the moment, yes, for me, but we won't know for sure until we've played each other.
I think that's all we can expect. One for you, Raj, from Games TV, who sent in 648 questions. This is one of them. Can Wilshere even play in the midfield of a 3-4-3 formation?
If so, God, why do you give me the formation ones?
Because it's about Jack. If so, who in theory would you play either side of him?
Oh my! I've got no idea.
Yes, you have.
I'm shit at all this stuff.
Who would you play midfield with him?
In a 3, Ramsey and Xhaka.
Well, there you go. That's the answer. Everybody knows. Right. Next question for Geoff.
That.
You're a genius, Raj. You do this more often.
Geoff didn't actually tell us what he thought of Jack in terms of his future.
No, I think you're too sentimental,
Geoff.
Raj. I'm afraid.
Mate, honestly,
I think you're too sentimental. Dave summed it up. I think he's unfortunately he's just one of those players that's going to get cropped. I see him. He was hanging his leg out again when he came on. Just going too close to players with the ball dribbling in front of him, and I think we say, "Oh man, you've not learned anything, have you?" He's just going to get clattered all the time. It's the game. He can't help it.
You're such a wob.
His contract ends at the end of the season, and they're not going to give him another one, are they? With the same amount of money he's on at the moment, what's he on, about 85 grand a week? He's not going to earn that if he stays at Arsenal, so he maybe is playing for a move.
He's not going to get another club though.
Maybe on a free, yeah, but they might give him a big sign-on bonus like they did with Gibbs.
Is he on his last season? Is he?
I think so. That's what people have been saying. We don't know anything though, do we? Right, one for you, Geoff, from AB Guna. Can Ozil adjust his game for big away games where he is expected to just as much be expected to do just as much on the ball as well as off of the ball?
Is it his third season with us now? Fourth season.
Fourth.
He's had plenty of time to adjust already. I just don't think he's not that type of player. And to be honest with you, we're not really getting the best out of him if we play him that way to defend as well. I don't think the league suits him. No, I would leave him on the bench for the big away games.
Yeah, it's a thing that's going to go on and on and on, isn't it? He's leaving at the end of the season on a free, so fuck it. Never mind. Right, one for you, Gimli, from Alonso. He says, "Is Iwobi a replacement and then he's quoted 10 role, or is he better off at the wing?" Oh, that's
well, Iwobi.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, against Cologne, I didn't think he was much cop in the centre of midfield. But against Chelsea, I thought he held his own in it. Again, to say it, a workmanlike performance. I think if you had to push me, he's a winger, and he will always be a winger, and he shouldn't be played in midfield.
It's interesting. Sorry to cut in. It's interesting though that since the Ox has gone, Iwobi's been playing centre midfield. When the Ox always wanted to play centre midfield all the time. Interesting. We'll carry on. Sorry.
Okay, right. Mr. Holick, one for you from Saif, SAIF. He says, "Is the curse lifted since Chamberlain left us, and is Liverpool the new that's cursed?" I think he's missed out the word one. Is Liverpool the new one that's cursed?
I know exactly what he's referring to because I retweeted someone last night who put out a communication to the effect that, funnily, since Chamberlain has left, we haven't lost. And since he's turned up at Anfield, Liverpool haven't won. But I think to link the two is possibly a little bit harsh on him because he can't get a start up there, can he? It's a fun question. I don't think the curse exists, though. Shame.
Didn't their right back get sent off recently? I mean, that's just a position begging to be filled, isn't it?
Yeah, Klein.
You're being mischievous.
Oh dear. Talking of being mischievous, a certain Davy Boyd here says, this is for you, Raj. Did Raj get a birthday cake? And if so, was it a fire hazard as candles? I think he's bullying you, Raj.
Absolute cheek.
Like
there
it.
you go. Didn't get a birthday cake this year, actually.
Didn't your mum get you one?
No.
Oh dear.
Cakes. Don't do cakes.
Doesn't she know you? That's what you want.
He don't celebrate, but it's been so many of them. I've
got a bar of fruit and nut for later on.
Oh,
should have just got him 51 Ferrero Rocher. That should have done it.
51 boxes.
I'd be on type 1 diabetes by then if I had that.
As a steward's inquiry about the 51, by the way, I've got to tell you.
You could have a word with Daddy.
1809-66. That's all I can tell you. 1809-66.
He didn't have
you
time
worked
to
that
think
out
about
well.
that. Yeah. I thought it was 50 a few years ago. Anyway, can't pick on him. It's his birthday. It's Raj's birthday, brother. Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Why wasn't she here the other week?
Because Ren let us down, and she had a go at Ren on Friday when he came round. We went out for Sean's leaving party. Yeah, so she called him names. Right, this next one is going to be for Geoff. It is from Joshua Page. He says, Aaron Ramsey, I think, said something about team solidarity being great post-Chelsea match. Do you think it's a coincidence?
No, honestly, like I said, there was a team meeting. There was a lot of stuff thrashed out after that Liverpool match. And I think he stuck it on them a little bit, the gaffer, and said, listen, if you don't want to be part of this team, hold your hand up or whatever, because the way, you're not going to get in. And I think after that, hopefully it's cleaned up a lot of stuff. And, like all the best teams that win the leagues and stuff, they are all, they play together. They're a great group. Look at Leicester, half the talent of the rest of the Premier League. But they come through and they did it, and most of it was on just pride and desire and the working for everybody else. If we can do that, we'd be a team.
Maybe they need to get Dave Hillier down at the Emirates and bring some of his championship winning VHS tapes and show him what team spirit is all about. That'd be great. He's joining us again soon, he says.
Watch that Palmer game. That was team spirit, mate. That Palmer game when we done him in the final. It was Palmer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
spot on.
Watch that game, mate. Totally the second best team on the pitch by absolute streets, right? But the desire, the hunger, and the will to win and work for each other won that game.
And Hillier and Selly in midfield.
Hillier and Selly in midfield.
Brilliant.
Think about it.
And it annoys me when people take the piss and give them grief. They were both decent players.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that because we know him.
He's not. No, he's not only coming on his own, is he? I'm not going to say who, but he's bringing a friend with him.
That'll be super.
It will be.
This is one. This will be for you, little Gimli. You ready?
Yes.
Sit up in your high chair.
I am up.
Good. Right. This is from Bobby. Check your booty, and that is how he's pronounced his surname. Don't try telling me it's anything else. He says, was it a better defensive performance from Iwobi and Welbeck than what Sanchez and Ozil would have given us? Could this be a blueprint for other matches? Oh, that's a good question, Bob.
Yeah, I think it could. We've all said on the podcast tonight how poor Ozil is at defending and tracking back. I think the one thing that you've got with Danny Welbeck is he might not be clinical in front of goal, but as a team player, yes, he is one, and two, he will run his bollocks off however long he is on the pitch. And we all know it's about how much ground is covered and how much fight you've got. So yes, I think it could be a blueprint.
You answered that a little bit too quickly. I was just going to go and get the last question to balance it. We've all got one question more.
Okay.
Right. It's going to go. Right. That one is for Geoff, so I'm going to have to ask that one in the right order. Right. This is one for you, Mr. Holick, from Steve Curson. He says, do you think the lineup against Chelsea was the first sign of planning for a life after Alexis and Ozil? I know we covered it a little bit, but what's your thoughts on it?
There's a possibility, as I say. I don't know whether Ozil was injured or being disciplined or whether he's had a little bit of a strop. It could be any number of reasons. But the fact that it happened to be the case yesterday, it's given us an indication of what we can achieve if you put together a side that has a balance, has a desire, and you don't have to rely on those who are your better players. Don't get me wrong. I think Ozil and Alexis should be in our best starting 11 because we're kind of forgetting they contributed to those last 11 games last season when I think we only lost one and when we turned a bit of a disaster into something more acceptable, particularly with the FA Cup win and beating Manchester City and Chelsea at Wembley to do it. But yes, we can live without them. Yesterday proved it.
Good, because we're going to have to not be replacing them, especially if we don't make the Champions League next season. That's a whole new load of wages and stuff we won't be able to cover. Yeah. But at least it's going to free up £280,000 a week, which is nice. That should buy Stan some new horses.
It won't free up anything of the sort because we haven't given them a pay rise because they haven't signed a contract.
No, I mean, from what they're already on at the moment, they're both on about 140, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, sorry, with the two of them together.
Yeah, there's no way we can afford to keep them because that would be 300, wouldn't it? They want-ish. Good luck. You could buy the club for most of that. Maybe not.
But then, to balance that, Danny, that would be paying them the transfer fee that we'd have to pay for their replacements.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why people are always moaning about why we don't renew contracts sooner. Well, when you've got 2 years on a contract to go and they want to go from 140 to 300, that means you're paying 160 grand on top of what you were for the next 2 years. So I bet that sometimes they look at that. We all think they don't, but I bet they bloody do.
Exactly that.
Right, one for you, birthday boy, from Anth. He says, what's the difference in mentality between the Liverpool game and the Chelsea game? It can't be all down to the Ox leaving. What do you think is happening inside the club? I'll tell you, if you can answer this one with any kind of clarity, you deserve the bumps.
I think Geoff's already answered it. That they've had a chat between themselves. They can't carry on like they were against Liverpool, or we'd end up with an absolute disastrous season. So whatever Geoff said about them getting together and then actually saying some home truths to each other, then that's obviously worked because since then the players improved a whole load more. So let's just hope that they self-govern. Don't rely on the manager to give out bollockings, but they should give out bollockings themselves, and hopefully Kolasinac will be leading the way.
Oh, that's okay. One final question. Honestly, there should be two. I'm just trying to find out we've got another game this week. This one is from... he's told me how to say his name phonetically. Well, if you know that, just spell it phonetically. Me, he, are. I've probably got that completely wrong. He says, question to Big G. Is 1,000 seats being increased at the Emirates to exceed Spurs' new stadium capacity? Would love to hear a yes on this one. But then some Spurs fans has ruined our timeline and tweeted back, nope, we're still considerably bigger. Our capacity is 61,559 and can still rise. What do you know, Geoff?
I don't think so, mate. I just think they're thinking about the dollars, aren't they? Arsenal could increase as well. I mean, it's not about that, is it, mate? Spurs can't even fill it up, mate. Don't worry about that. They won't fill it up 61,000 every single week. We'll still have bigger attendances than Tottenham. So no, I don't think so.
Basically, fuck them.
Fuck them, exactly right.
Lovely. Final question of this lovely round of questions from all our wonderful listeners is from Steve, not our Steve, another Steve, for you, little Gimli. You ready?
Yes.
Good. He says, I reckon Wenger is way ahead and knows, just like in rugby, the bench is becoming as important as the starting lineup on any given day. Something that I'm surprised we haven't seen come in. They've brought it out in Italy a few seasons ago. You can have as many subs on the bench as you want, still only bring 3 on. I think they've started doing that in German and Dutch football as well, which I think that could ruin the youth system or the reserve system if they've all got to be on there, because sometimes we play our under-23s on a Saturday morning, and then we'd have to have all the best ones go with the team if we want to have a bench. Like sometimes in Italy, you'll have 15, 16 players on the bench. What do you think?
What do I think? I think it's a good idea. It would certainly make the game more attractive, because as the game unfolds, people get injured, yellows given out. That it gives you more of a scope to be able to change the game. It certainly gives it another level of tactics. I'd be all for it if it was introduced over here. I think it would be a fantastic thing.
You've answered that too quickly.
All right,
Again?
let me add a point to it. It would turn the old running track round the ground into the M25. How many players do you want galloping up and down the touchline when they've been told to warm up?
I used to give him abuse when that Highbury used to run up and down in front of where we were, and I'd give him plenty of abuse. And David Beckham gave me abuse back once to tell me to F off. I've never been the same since that. All right, Gimli, there you go. That's all the questions done. We've just got predictions for Doncaster and West Brom. And I think
Okay, so let's start with you. We'll do it. Each person has to do it at the same time. So let's have your predictions, Danny, for Doncaster and West Brom.
Okay, well, Doncaster, give you a little bit of an idea. They are 19th in the League One, which for the older listeners, that's in Old Money Division 3. Their league record is horrendous. They have played 8, scored 1, drawn 3, lost 4, scored 7, conceded 10, goal difference of -3, and they're above Plymouth. That's all we really care about. So yes, I'm going to go for a crazy 6-0, and I'm going to have the first goal scorer, Reece. Yes, because I think Reece is going to be played in a more forward position like he does for the under-23s, and I reckon he's going to get a screamer as we're going to hammer them.
Oh, you mean 6-0 to the Arsenal?
Yes, I do. You've been cheeky.
And your prediction for West Brom?
Oh, we're doing West Brom as well. That is at home. I'm going to go 2-0 and Lacazette.
Wonderful. David?
Doncaster, I'll be happy like Danny, and I'll go for 4-0. Be aware there are always teams in the bottom of that division in particular. Coventry won the Johnston Paints load of crap trophy last year, but got relegated. They were a decent cup side. Doncaster might be made of the same stuff. But no, 4-0. First goal scorer, it will be Olivier Giroud.
Wonderful.
And West Brom, I'll go with, there's going to be a big feel-good factor going on. 3-0 and Lacazette.
Lovely. Raj?
You're on mute, Raj.
Yeah, mute again, isn't he?
Oh,
Eating his birthday cake. Shall I go?
I was eating.
Yeah.
I was eating fruit and nut, but
don't mention nuts to me.
5-0 Doncaster. And can I give me a crazy name to just go for? Nelson. There you go. And I'm going to go for 3-0 West Brom Lacazette.
We're all getting a little bit too confident after a good run of results, aren't we?
Shall I go for 2-2? Who's winning? Who's winning?
I've not updated it in ages. I've got to go through my phone and
is there still a league?
Yes, there
I
is.
don't think I've made one prediction yet.
Well, there you go, Geoff.
Well, it looks like you're
finger out.
fucking bottom then.
Well, I'm a double champion, mate. You know what I mean? I've still got the cut to prove it.
You'll be coming from behind then, Geoff.
I've won 2 in the last 4 years, mate. You know what I mean? I'll let you have a little go for a little while.
Yeah, well,
Anyway, right, you've done yours, right? So you need me next, I don't doubt, yeah?
Yeah, Doncaster.
Okay,
and West Brom.
I will go with. I'm going to go 2-0 Doncaster. I don't think it'd be as easy as you think it's going to be. Then they'll always have a go. The West Brom game, I think that'd be even harder. Pulis in charge down there. He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Knows how to set a team up. They've not had too bad a start. I will go 1-0. Okay, both games. Sorry, I'll start again. Giroud the first game. Doncaster will get the goal, won the first goal, and I will go with Lacazette.
Not Gibbs' own goal. That'd be funny.
Yeah, 1-0 Lacazette.
What's yours, Little Gimli?
I'm going 3-0 Doncaster with Giroud first scorer, and for West Brom I'm going to go 2-1 with Alexis first scorer.
That's good. And listeners at home and on the tractor, listeners you're very bad, you listeners. You haven't been sending me your predictions. You need to do it, otherwise you're going to get nil point.
Nil
There you
point.
go.
So we're going to do some shout outs now, and Danny, we'll go back to you.
Yes, I'm not really bursting for a wee, so as long as I don't think about it, I'll be fine. Mine is going to go to 3 people that we all know. I'm just scrolling through my timeline of, here they go. 3 magnificent Arsenal artists. You've got Jamie, which is at JF Doodles, Doodles, and a new one I found who does really, really magnificent Arsenal pictures is Gunnar, Ballz. And then we've got the one that a lot of people will know about, at Can't Draw Arsenal, who does some really, really funny things. So go. I mean, if you can't remember who they are, just go and have a look on my timeline. I did it 22 hours ago, plus or minus however many hours it is from you hearing this, and go and follow all 3 and give them a bit of support, because the stuff they do is sometimes in these days of being a gooner, we need something to cheer us up, and they all do that brilliantly.
Lovely. David?
For me, someone I met yesterday. I can't believe I keep on meeting people every time I go to the games. There's someone new, but I arranged to meet Clock End Sniper in one of the battles in North End Road yesterday before the game, and I think I've given him a shout out already. He brought along with him a guy called Shabs, who's at Red But Dread on Twitter. Absolutely brilliant guy. We had a good crack before the game. Carried on afterwards for a little while before rolling on somewhere else. So he gets my shout out. Cheers, Shabs.
Lovely stuff. Geoff?
Yeah, I think one of the lads that's already asked a question, a guy called Steve _J_I. I've been following him for a while. I don't chat to him a lot on there, but I do read his tweets, and he's a very loyal Arsenal fan. He talks a lot of sense. He's worth a follow.
Lovely. Raj?
Last person to follow me was Ashish Bandari from Kathmandu, Nepal. Very beautiful part of the world, I have to say. At Ashish, AASHIS _78. So there you go.
Lovely
Another
stuff.
new fan.
And I'm going to go for at Greg's Aguna, who dropped me a DM about the Chelsea game. I understand that it was his first game. So a little hello to him for dropping me a message. And it's probably a surprise for him because I didn't tell him. So that's all wonderful. Danny, you got anything else to say?
No, the radio shows. There will be one after the game on Wednesday, the Doncaster game. I think I'm actually on that one. Next week, because we're playing West Brom on the Monday, we'll be doing the podcast on the Tuesday because we can't record a podcast while the game is on and then have a radio show straight after it. So next week it's a Tuesday, people. But we're not the Tuesday Club.
We are not the Tuesday Club. No. We are definitely not the Tuesday Club.
We try.
No, we don't try.
Conservative.
They're just far better than us.
They are.
And we accept that.
How come you ain't got on there yet, Geoff? You're an interloper. You do a bit of moonlighting.
What's this for? What are we talking about now?
Tuesday Club. Why haven't you been on there?
Nah, they don't have the great unwashed people like me on there. You've got to be on the wireless or on the TV or something like that, mate.
You got your
I
fancy I'd hold my own on there, mate. I really do. They should stick me on there.
One guy that has been offered to go on there is FK. FK, you've been very quiet tonight, but how did you feel when the Tuesday Club came calling?
Hold on a sec, guys. Arson, wrong hole. Sorry, guys. I'd love to go on there.
How many holes has he got?
Wonderful.
See up to.
It's got saucy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And amazing. We started on Danny's hole and we're finishing on FK's hole.
We've only done an hour and 20 minutes. It's the shortest
one
one ever.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, boys.
80 minutes. It should be a 75-minute pod.
Let him wrap it up then.
It took you having a late poo for us to finish early, and it's still only 10 to 10.
Have you seen in the podcast news group yet? They're all giving me shit, literally.
Good. Right. Yes. So all that's left is to thank my wonderful guests tonight. Raj, David, Geoff, you have been magnificent. Danny, you've been shit, but you had to be here.
And you've been very good as usual. Thanks for turning up.
Wonderful. I was here at 7:15. This hasn't been like 2 hours out of my life gone.
No, definitely not.
Fantastic. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Come on, Geoff, say it.
Allora, pistola.
Oh, Dave, you have to say it for him.
You damn dog.
So I did her in the brown, see? Happy birthday, Raj.
Many happy ones, fella.
Thank you very
Are you
much.
50 again?
51 today, I'm afraid.
Fuck off.
I better change your intro. I got you down as 61.
Twat.
Got to be nearly retiring soon, mate, surely.
4 more years, that's when my pension becomes mature. And then I'm going to watch the England Test team play overseas for the rest of my life, basically.
Is that what you do?
One of Dave's pleasures, I think.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What's on the agenda?
Yeah.
Cologne, of course. Daddy's got a bit of a loan watch. Then we're going into Cologne, talk a bit about the fan trouble. Raj, we're going over to you for that one.
Wasn't really fan trouble though, but go on, yeah. Me and Geoff, Geoff, you were there, weren't you?
There's no loan watch or injuries in that game because I've been ill. Just go straight to the show.
Geoff gone?
Okay.
Geoff.
He's making a cup of tea. That's what it is. Either that or he's cutting some cake for the dogs.
What did you get for your birthday, Raj? Anything nice?
Didn't get anything really. No.
You didn't buy yourself an 85-inch.
Oh, I bought myself an Apple, the new Apple TV 4K. Only you'd be interested in that. It's got HDR as well. £179, yeah.
Oh, the new ones.
The new one that got announced last week. It doesn't get delivered for 3 weeks.
Oh.
I'll get yeah.
You all right, Geoff?
Sorry, mate.
What are you doing?
A drop of milk went down the wrong hole. Terrible.
Oh, story of my life.
Fucking hell. Oh, naughty.
The Gim, there's none of my usual stuff. Just go straight to insult people, then go straight to the show.
Okay.
And then if I need to go,
some good news as well today. It looks like they're offering.
Geoff, were you at the game? Weren't you on Thursday? He's gone again.
No, I'm here. Go on, I beg your pardon. I'm here. Yeah, I was there.
Were you at the game on Thursday?
It was.
So me and Geoff could talk about the stuff before the game and the atmosphere and all that, and then maybe Dave could talk about the game itself, the actual game.
No, because that wouldn't be a good idea. I wasn't there.
No, but you saw the game on TV, didn't you?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Whereas me and Geoff experienced everything which happened before that. So I thought I could lead into talk that and Geoff to see what he thought.
We can all have a go, can't we, mate?
Yeah. But hopefully,
there'll probably be more on Cologne than there will be on Chelsea. Of course, it's 0-0. There's plenty of positives. No one's saying there's not that, but in
played
terms
well
of
yesterday. Really played well.
No, I thought we did. I thought we put a very.
I thought we were the better team. I thought we got it right. I thought Ramsey was amazing. I thought he was really excellent yesterday.
And Kolasinac was
just a brute. Yeah. No one can kill him. He's indestructible, I tell you. No one can kill him.
Best free transfer since Sol Campbell, I reckon.
I don't know who found him or who scouted him or whatever, but he needs a pay rise for that one, I tell you. He's looking good, so I don't want to get carried away.
I tweeted on Sunday, we could look on the bright side. It's only 4.5 years until he leaves on a free, so there's reasons to be positive.
Oh dear. Yes, I feel a bit better now. Thanks for asking. I'm being cyberbullied in the news group.
FK's getting a bit too much now.
Yeah,
he is.
I think it was too much the first time you did it.
Don't say me.
Oh no, it wasn't you. I said whoever's there, and I think we just get Derek Akora and we get the spirit of FK.
Yeah. I mean, if that's FK, then he's one sick puppy.
He is a sick puppy.
4 weeks, they reckon he's out Welbeck, don't they?
Good.
Allegedly.
Don't want him in the team. Don't want him anywhere near the team. He's a sub
Geoff,
player.
you still haven't worked out the Arsenal injury formula. Whatever they say, times 3.
Yeah, true.
Plus 4 months.
Fucking dodgy injury, that groin, though. It all depends how bad it is, mate. If it's bad,
it
then...
won't. I'll tell you what.
Good.
Tell you what. 20 quid to charity, Geoff. If he's out, if he's on pitch quicker than 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's true.
If you donate,
Geoff is like, no, I'm not having a fucking stitch of that.
No, he's no. I think you're right, though, mate. I do think you're right. I think it's a
5 weeks.
Well, you never know. Might
3
be
months.
more, mate.
3 months. He won't be back before.
If it's properly
January.
torn, it's a long thing, mate. You could see he was struggling walking off, mate.
And he's a bad healer. He's a bad healer. Do you know what I mean?
have you lot donated to Marky 249's marathon run? He's doing it for blind children, and if you donate, you can get a chance at winning his signed Charlie George shirt. I know me and
I've
Oleg have.
retweeted it a couple of times, but I haven't donated.